All right, so Matt, there are
Okay.
7, but they don't rotate to the first scuttle.
Okay, well, no. I think that's at least a 6, but they don't push the mid wave when they should. You got to look at it like that. But okay, my turn. There are 4, but they build and actually use McHale's. So,
Dude, that's a 10. That's an easy 10. Okay, I got a really good one for you.
Okay.
They are a 10, but they play ranged top laners.
Oh no, dude, wait. Oh my, wait, Regdor, I think we're live right now. What? Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us here on the Path to LCK stream. My name's Regdor. Joining me in the booth is Mac Dewey.
Hey, but no worries. Today we've got a really great matchup. It's gonna be Cincinnati Fear versus Jake's Kittens.
No,
that's on the Academy.
That's not us.
Stream.
That's Academy.
We're gonna cut to a quick break. Dude, we're so gonna get fired.
Instantly one-shot. You don't have a jungler to go for a steal. You have to keep the combo alive for as long as possible. He is still untouched, but finally with the final pop on him, it is a double kill. It is an immune Gwen triple kill for the immunity. Final kill going on to Rock on high 5 goes gold to get at least 1 kill back onto him. Draco chasing it down. He won.
Old-fashioned banana slammer and bot.
And the Nautilus hook lands, the focus is gonna be made. He goes down, it's Brother Monkey for the DK crew. They pick up 2 on either side and it feels even with the Scion passive, but it's the Swain.
Can't actually stop being hit from going down there. Here's
the shockwave
on the flanking play, but they may not get that one off there. City waiting, going down. Mia going crazy in the base right now. The final hour, the tumbles, the silver bolts, and evil genius. Prodigy's cleaning it up.
Here we go, the quickening has
Raheem
been popped. They're
says
gonna
go.
go in and catch once to catch it. They're gonna be able to go into the back line. The Cyclone is there. The Emperor's Divide as well. It is Wukong popping up, getting point kill, but it's a 1-for-1 so far. And Divided, they are going to fall. AoE are getting dropped so low, but now he has been exposed. He jumps back into the fight.
Zamudo.
It's hammer time. It's Young and Zamudo looking to play clutch. G-Song versus the world, but Zamudo, can you handle G-Song? The answer to that question is no! A double kill! G-Song with a statement and an 8.
For them, can they get Trico next? Healing a whole lot, has to go gold, but so much damage coming up from Blaze, and he's gonna get the triple. Can he get the quad here though? He might just find it. He's looking for it. He's running him down. Azog over the wall with the flicky glide, but it doesn't matter. A quad, come on, Blaze, end it right here, right now. They're chasing him down, and Flux is gonna give him the penta kill. Goodbye and good night, because this is
Was hard earned as Lens is the one now isolated. Flame
Whoa.
goes up into the Feather Storm. Still, it's only Blaze that falls, so they have the damage to follow through. The desperation fight here. They're going to be able to do 1.
Whoa,
looking
Fnatic.
for 2, but Fnatic is on the resets, and I think that has gotta be it soon.
I think we're about to see the winner of Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier 1 in the summer split.
This is going to be it. They called themselves 100 Thieves next, but they're 100 Thieves now!
Hello and welcome back here on the Path to LCS stream. My name's Mac Dewey. Joining me for day number 2 of the second summer Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier is the one and only Regdor. How you feeling about day 2, my man?
You know, I got my gamer rest so I could be at my gamer best for day number 2, where all the chips are going to get put on the table. I'm super excited.
Right, as we head into day number 2, it all comes down to this for a lot of these teams as they look to crack their way into the top 16 to head into the group stage. But as we get ready for a second day of more League of Legends action, we got 3 matches today. Let's take a quick refresher at the format for the circuit qualifier.
Welcome to the Summer Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier presented by Unify. 32 teams will compete in a 5-round Swiss Open qualifier to decide who will advance to the 16-team group stage. The Swiss format matches teams with the same record against each other as the rounds progress. This means in round 2, the 1-0 teams will play each other, while the 0-1 teams will do battle, and so on. The 16 teams to reach 3 wins by the end of round 5 will move on to the group stage, where they'll be seeded based on their results in the Swiss. Each group will play in a best-of-3 double elimination bracket to decide who will advance to the playoff stage. The playoffs will be single elimination best-of-3 matches up until the grand final best-of-5 series. Teams will earn points based on their overall performance. Here's how the numbers break down. The top 10 amateur teams across both of the Proving Grounds circuit qualifiers will qualify for the Proving Grounds. Which of these aspiring champions will rise to the top in the summer of 2022? Come see for yourself.
Today, we are continuing on our coverage from yesterday's action. Regdor, we've got 8 teams sitting on the top, 16 stuck in the middle sitting at 1-1, and another 8 sitting at the bottom at 0-2. Looking to pull some, let's say, CLG faith magic, as we know even in day number 2, teams can completely turn it around from how they did in day number 1.
Yeah, so definitely a rat race still to be had, with the middle of the pack being as large as it is. But really the top of the table is where I'm really looking towards and excited to see if who might be able to challenge 100 Thieves next on the undefeated run or match them in that glory.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at where we can catch some of these exciting matches here on the Path to LCS stream. Me and Regdor are going to be covering No Org versus Maryville, a clash of returning titans, to see who is really back here in the Proving Grounds. Over on the Academy stream, we got Echo and Hawk holding down the fort. Should be just so much energy on that cast. How can you you don't want to miss that. Cincinnati Fear taking on Jake's Kittens. Really hype day 2 stuff for us here. Let's take a look at all the matches we've got here in the 3rd round. Again, teams looking for that critical 3rd win to get into the group stage. And Regdor, we've got a lot of teams sitting here with some Proving Grounds points from the previous summer qualifiers. So a lot of different positions, a lot of different mindsets for these teams. As for us, as we kind of look at our series between No Org and Maryville, we're dealing with 2 teams that do not have a lot of PG points and are very much trying to fight their way into the top 10 to qualify for the Proving.
Yeah, that's exactly the name of the game, is to make up for lost time and make those points up in the aggregate. And obviously going through this stage, 4-1, 5-0, that's a great way to start off on the right foot. And both these teams on day 1 with convincing wins, maybe some middle of the pack wins, depending, that we'll get more into as we talk here. But dominance nonetheless, being 2-0. On the day. They only technically have to win 1 game to advance. That's a super pog feeling to have.
Yep, feeling good, but every game matters. Even just picking up those 2 wins yesterday, so important, because each of the wins here in the Open Qualifier count towards 5 Proving Grounds points, which at the end of this circuit qualifier, Regdor, it's going to come down to the numbers for who gets into that top 10. It's super close. We've got so many teams looking to get their way. They want to prove their might against the Academy squads, and one team in particular that has already done just that, we're going to be able to watch on stream as No Org makes their return here to the Proving Grounds.
And No Org is that boogeyman that you hear stories about at night, and they've come out of the shadows again. It's always super exciting to read and listen to some of the stories of old. Like we talked about yesterday, hey, I'm a boomer, but I'm a little bit, newer to the scene in terms of seeing everything at the professional level, going from just playing the game for fun and having ARAM nights to studying the game. And when you look back at what No Org did at Proving Grounds 21, they didn't play just against some Academy teams. All 10 Academy teams were represented. They only dropped 4 total games, and those were only to a C9 Academy, who beat them in the upper bracket finals. They get knocked to the lower bracket 3-0, come back to the grand finals and beat C9 Academy 3-1. That is an emphatic statement to say nonetheless. And here they are again, ready to try to run it back.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the lane matchups here. It's a little bit different of a look here for No Org. Viper not in the top lane, Fire not in the mid lane, and still in the jungle, and we saw just how big of an impact he can make on the game yesterday, dominating Volibear performance and even bringing out Poppy into the jungle here. They are up against Maryville University coming out. It's the return of Iconic returning to the squad here. This Maryville squad's looking absolutely stacked, and their level of comfort working together really showed as looking at the VOD from the Academy stream yesterday as Maryville took on Taco Gaming. It was a top 10 matchup, and Maryville certainly got their revenge. They are back here to prove themselves. They didn't quite make their way into the top 8 in the last circuit qualifier, so they need to get the points as well, very similar to No Org.
Absolutely. And the thing to note about Maryville as a whole is I always think of Maryville as a conglomerate. This isn't, this is a dynasty. This is a organization that has all the coaching and skill needed to build over time. And when you look at these players, while we know a lot about them individually, they're very storied, especially on the top side of the map. Niles and Iconic, the wonderful duo we've seen a little bit of everywhere, but back home here at Maryville University, they play as one. And they play that same style that we've heard, that's just this LPL, fight you wherever you stand, but they do it together and they do it as a unit. And that changes up how people can kind of attack. But we do see a B1 Zeri, which if there's anything that's about conglomerate team fighting, it is Zeri.
Yeah, taking a quick run through the bans. Heavy focus on the bot lane, but really strong meta picks in Corki and Seraphine taken off of the board. Wixie yesterday with Big T on this Yuumi. Got a pentakill on Twitch to clutch out a game against the AoE random squad. So we'll have to see Regdor. Maybe we're going to get a Yuumi run back with the Twitch for No Org here against Maryville as Wukong is locked in.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have the bot lane of a cat and a rat, but instead we get a cat and a monkey. It's going to be the whole zoo maybe for No Org of that standout performance. It was a 42-minute banger against AoE randoms yesterday, where that took place, which is important to note because this isn't, like you said before, the top lane. We have Cozy, and then we've got Leo in the mid lane. So not same as the No Org we known, but we watched in these games they at least had such great disciplined team fight. Discipline 100-0, this target, then this target, then this target. Yep. Everybody was on the same page, but obviously some comfort period. Wait.
Let's go!
The Bard
locked in.
Yes.
Nice.
The Bard is going to wander once again.
And we were talking about Maryville with their aggressive style of play and putting Zyko on a carry support like this that can make plays on his own is certainly one way to get Maryville started off on the right foot. For Wixie, the former Academy ADC, making his return back here to the Proving Grounds. Regdor, I mean, we saw a lot about Wixie. Wixie's been a vocal member of the community, how he wants to grind and earn his spot there at the higher levels of play.
And if anything, yesterday was an emphatic statement of where Wixie's level stands, with very different looks, playing, not only the Draven, and making it look great. That's a lot of buttons to press to stay on top of those axes. But as well as the Twitch, these are two champions that play the game out in very different ways and look just as comfortable on both of them. We get to see another style today with an Ezreal Yuumi lane that is kind of trying to match pound for pound scaling and a little bit of non-interactivity with the Zeri Bard. Everybody I see who plays Bard, the only way I can put it is they play like a psycho. He is the champion that is just out there to like bait out your skill shots, make you think you have kill pressure, and then tunnel away on a magical journey. So definitely going to be interested to see what these early game roams look like from Zyko and really how he can link up with Iconic in some of these early rotations.
Yeah, as we made our way through the second phase of bans, the mid lane champion pool, Regdor, it has been slaughtered. What options do these mid laners have after so many champions, critical to the meta really, have been taken off of the board?
Yeah, that is about almost everybody out of there. I was going to say the Victor is the only thing that's kind of left out of quote-unquote the top tier. Even, Seraphine and Lucian, technically some crossfire between the jungle mid lane, but it is the Victor locked in there for Leo. It'll be interesting. I think Zoe is another one that is a potential, has the wave clear in the earlier rotations, can kind of match the push or beat out the push of Victor in the early game once she has about 2 or 3 points into the Battlestar around level 5. It may complement what looks to be more of a pick style composition with Camille, with Bard as well.
Yep.
But we'll have to see. Well, Ahri is a pretty staple pick, but it could just get the Galio Camille in the game, and that is the homogenous gameplay pattern that we've expected from Maryville. But opt out of it. That's what I get for talking about hovers every time. They know it, and they're just like, no,
they get you. They get you good, Rektor. They get me always as well. Niles, I think, very interestingly, going for the Camille over something blindable. No classic GP from Niles, no Fiora locked in. He's going with what his gut's telling him is the right move here with this Camille, and now No Org saving red 5 for this top lane counter pick, and Gwen made her way all the way until the end. We can't escape it.
Yeah, I will say this is pretty magic damage heavy from the side of No Org, really hopefully putting a lot of emphasis on Wukong and a bit of Ezreal's damage there in the mid game to be the AD threat, but a lot of great setup in changing in positions. A lot of day one for No Org felt like aggressiveness in each and every lane, just sort of skill checking their opponents, for lack of better terms. And coming into day two playing against Maryville, that I don't think works as well. I don't think you get to skill check any one lane and just say we're going to win by virtue of our hands. You're playing against, as what I'll continue to say, is a homogenous unit, is somebody that have been well schooled and trained in this institutional gameplay thought. And they have a composition that I feel like really reflects that in the fact that they all kind of interlock with one another. There's no random, as you would, solo queue pick out there.
And looking at, I think, these compositions as a whole, Regdor, the matchup that sticks out to me right now is Anda versus Iconic. Yesterday, Anda's gameplay just stood out so much to me. How he was able to go just literally lane to lane, setting everybody up. It was like Oprah. Everybody was just getting ganks and they were getting kills, and it was just working out so well. In Maryville, I think as a squad, Iconic, former pro player as well, Anda's got his work cut out for him in this matchup. And is it poetic or not that these guys are doing the Viego Wukong matchup, isn't it?
You know what? You can't write some of these things. No script. But conversely, like, that's the huge piece to talk about. I think if you're talking about Maryville, is Niles and Iconic. In Camille, Viego, that in of itself has great setup for one another. And if Camille gets rolling, she doesn't stop. The blade feet will keep on snipping away, which is the opposite of what you would expect in some cases. but the Hallowed Mist from Cozy's Gwyn can only do so much to stop that. I really have a huge emphasis on, like you said, this jungle matchup and how they're able to facilitate these lanes early. If either of the solo laners from Maryville have a lead, their ability to not only control side lane, their ability to set up other plays and especially get these picks around objectives with the Spirit Rush and Charm or the Hextech Ultimatum just automatically puts No Org at a man disadvantage going into objectives. So I really hope to see those early rotations towards this top side of the map and try to get something for the solo lane going.
And these solo lanes just look like such skill-dependent matchups. We saw yesterday, it popped up in the ban list that Xerath locked in by APA in order to try to counter the high-range Corki pick. Now going for something pretty meta, this Ahri Victor matchup. Still, I think really none of these players really have too big of an advantage just based, I think, on how draft is rolled out here. I think a big theme from yesterday on our stream as well, Regdor, was bot lane aggression and how teams drafted around setting up their bot laners for success, managing waves. We don't get a whole lot of that here. It honestly seems like the supports might just let the ADCs farm it out until late game.
You know, I tend to agree, except for Bard players are the most wild thing in the world because they'll somehow walk up, have this really big trade, lose half their health, but they still somehow won out on the trade. Right. And that's what makes me, I guess, not skeptical of the bot lane matchup for No Org, but I think that generally speaking, Maryville will have the push. Ezreal's not a champion that's known for having really great wave pushing innately in their kit. That's why you sometimes see the Ravenous Hydra and the Tiamat come through to help make up for that. And that's why he's also been paired with Karma in a lot of the reach and matchups because it can match poke and it can help control the wave state better for their side. But Zeri, on the other hand, able to use the dash, gets that piercing damage on her auto attacks, plus Bard as well, who we can guess may go Spell Thief's Edge, could go one of the Spoils of War, and kind of work out that way, and just make sure they constantly have priority for the bottom side of the map, but shouldn't be, in my mind, too much of a kill lane in the early game, but it will be a question of the priority and what 6 items Bard chooses to go. That's another thing to keep in mind, is that could be Electrocute Bard, could be Guardian Bard, who knows? Bard is Bard.
And with both of these teams getting ready to load onto the Rift, again, a clash of returning titans here. Regdor, who is really back in Proving Grounds? We're going to find out in just a little bit, as No Org with some new fresh faces here in the Open Qualifier. I think Cozy and Leo so far have done a phenomenal job through day one action, being there for the team, and really, we don't even miss Viper in 5 Fire. No Org is still just so strong, and I think with Anda leading them in the jungle, and Wixie, Grinder looking for his spot here. Are they going to be able to do it? Ezreal, a real skill expressive champion, along with what Maryville have in their lineup.
No, and that's really the question, is that I love about Swiss format, that this is 2-0 versus 2-0. There is no easy days in Proving Grounds, and one of these teams is going to go out of this with the momentum and really, in the minds of most fans, be the next team that could beat 100 Thieves Next. Maryville University has had many competitive games versus 100 Thieves Next. No Org has a long-standing history and tradition of beating tier 1 organizations, screwing them up and spitting them out. Whoever gets to come out 3-0 is more than likely going to run into these guys, and I'm really excited to see if somebody can take down what is the Titans of Amateur.
Alrighty, Summoners, the clash begins! Welcome on to the Rift for our first match of the day, as Maryville faces off against No Org. We're getting into it. A 5-point start, early bot ward for the side of Maryville. Oh my goodness, Rector, I'm on edge. I'm on the edge of my seat. Let's get into it.
Hey, you know, it was almost a 5-point start. We can call it like a 4.5. You know, Yumi, the cat does not like to be alone, and that is an important point in this. Did take the exhaust and heal down there in the bot lane for Big T, while we have the wonderful, I love the name Passion Diff, but that is indeed Wixie with the first strike, TP Ezreal.
Is that Klepto? Is that, are we back to Klepto Ezreal? No, I'm just... It is still Ezreal Yumi in the bot lane. We can't escape everything. Regdor is, Anda is going to be starting off on the bot side of the map. And oh, Pistol Petey there, quite the iconic figure. Iconic here, starting on the bot side as well.
Yeah, and will be starting solo. As we can see, the Bard Zeri lane already setting up, looking to get some early damage down. And look, there's the easy stun, plus the meat. We get a little bit of a meat diff getting down some of that early damage. Zyko did choose to go the Spell Thief's Edge. So, autoing the enemy is really great to be able to get that ward quest done early on. And they should continue to have that early pressure in the lane. And we'll probably be able to see a roam depending on the timers on it. Again, both of the junglers rotating from the bottom side up to the top into this lovely top lane matchup of the Camille Gwen. Getting one of them ahead can help set the precedence for later on, Mac, to see who can control the side lane.
Yeah, Niles there on the Camille going up against Cozy. Both of these junglers trying to make their way through the jungle as quickly as possible. Scuttlecrab's going to be spawning up here, and they might just very well meet each other. But Anda with the level advantage right now is going a little bit faster.
You know what I wonder in my head is this like one of the lowest amount of flashes in a League of Legends game? Both TP ignites. Yumi, no flash, of course, as is customary. This is like ARAM, you know, when you're like level 5 and you don't have flash yet, so you just have to go like cleanse ghost.
Yep. And we see Anda was spotted on that ward before it died, so he knew something was up, and there's Iconic able to smite away. Says, thank you, sir, for the scuttle.
He said, why work hard when can work easy? Just smites it away from the enemy jungler.
Anda just quit. He was out. He's done with the game. No Org is maybe dropping out of proving. No, I'm just messing.
No.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think the jungler's starting spot on the map there at level 1, Rector, really kind of speaks to how this game might be a whole lot different than what we usually see here in the open qualifier. They've got skilled solo laners, both of these teams that they want to play around.
No, that's exactly the case. And we both, both sides can look at their draft and say, okay, we have a scaling bot lane. Neither one has particular kill pressure on the other. So let's just leave them be. Let's make this a reverse game. Instead of top living on an island, we'll let bot live on an island until Drake starts to come up and we can kind of play for it around there. But let's play towards our solo lane. Let's play towards the top side of the map and that first Herald, which is really where I want to focus the attention towards. Because you have the setup in Iconics, Viego, as well as Niles on the Camille. That is a nasty 2v2 into Wukong and Gwen, which Gwen, it sounds weird to say because we love the meme, Gwen is immune, but Gwen has to be careful because that hallowed miss only helps you against long range. Close range, however, when they get up 2 melee carries, both have built-in CC, that's only giving you a little bit of, MR and armor in that duel, and that could change a lot in the preface of it. So I really look to the side of Iconic and Niles to kind of take the fight to No Org there in the early game around what is the big first neutral objective on the map.
Yep, and also while the top jungle duo is going to be fighting it out, because it is so close, Regdor, a lot of times what can swing the tide is maybe a well-timed mid-room. So all eyes, I think, on APA, and we got APA in the mid lane alongside Leo. Silly me. Leo going up against APA. We'll have to see who can manage the waves better, I think, to time those roams, to set up for the objectives. Maryville yesterday not only really got set up super well, but they were playing together looking for picks before going for the objective, Regdor. So it wasn't even a matter of objective fights going the way of Maryville. It was they were taking objectives without having to worry about taking a fight because they already had the numbers advantage they were looking for.
Yeah, and that's actually where I kind of favor the side of Maryville in their picks, because Ari doesn't have a DLC to download like Victor. They don't have to play the minigame to get the upgrades. They just have them baseline. And that Spirit Rush is such a valuable skill in those rotations to be able to catch from interesting angles and be able to get over those walls to just find the angle that they need to set up the picks. And then you pair that alongside of what we've already talked about in the jungle and top. And you just have so much lockdown for these potential plays that they can pull the old switcheroo and say, call an ambulance, but not for me. And put that man disadvantage before it's even up. Yeah, little finger pistols going out there.
Pistol Pete. We got Pistol Pete out there on the Rift. Now, looking back over kind of how both of these teams ended up in this position, No Org, it has been over a year since their success in the Proving Grounds. Now, still with the same mission, players coming together to prove themselves and showcase their talent as we continue here on our coverage, as we look for which players are going to grow and improve to that level where they can ascend into Academy and then further into the LCS. And Maryville on the other side, they had a rough group there in the group stage of the previous summer qualifier, with both 100 Thieves and Cincinnati Fear in their group. Regdor, that's the number 1 and 2 team. They got knocked out of top 8 for good reason, and it gets into this situation where the open qualifiers can affect your seeding and really affect where you end up, thus potentially affecting the outcome and how many points you get. It's all about the points.
It's all about the math, if we have any math enjoyers out there. I'm not one of them. That's why I like smart people telling me how the maths.
Right.
But yeah, that's as we keep on coming back to how important the points are and how important that having these undefeated runs, going 3-0 in the case of these two teams, makes a huge difference in not only your standings, but the points that you're getting before you even get to the next stage of the game. Super important. And that's what I love about No Org's concept of we're just dudes being guys, or just gamers gaming. There isn't any fact out there other than they all want to compete at the high level. They want to go back to the winning ways that they had in the last Proving Grounds in 2021, where, again, if you didn't know, they were they beat all the Academy teams. At the time, there was 10 Academy teams in Proving Grounds. They only dropped 4 games, and that was in the finals for the upper bracket. They 3-0 in the lower bracket, and they come back up in 3-1, those who sent them down. As we get back into the game, though, we'll have to see who gets to stay in the 3-0 division and who's going to drop down to 2-1.
Well, Ignite was used by Niles. Cozy is in a tough position here with the wave crashing. He's trying to whittle it down, but here comes Iconic, and might be a little too late to this fight, as under the turret, Cozy getting real low there. We don't see... does he live? Stay around and find out. Cozy did not live. That is a dead Gwen underneath the turret. Maryville pick up first blood.
That was like one of those memes where it like plays the music. It's like, yeah, we'll be right back. And we return to Cozy TV back to the lane. That is first blood in the pocket of Niles, who will come back with such an so important item for the laning phase, and that is that Sheen. That Sheen does big boy damage when paired up with the precision strike that is Camille.
Yeah, and we see Niles and Iconic picking up like they never even left each other. Beautiful dive there underneath the turret, and really just a huge play. As we mentioned, those solo lanes going to impact this match very, very much. And when the snowball starts, sometimes you can't stop it. So let's see if Maryville is going to be able to keep the ball rolling.
That is the first Drake on the map, and looks like Wukong just went off the reset and will be coming back out onto the map. There'll be a question if they're going to try. Nobody so far looking at the Drake, but good vision setup already secured by Maryville. It's great because nobody needs to force anything. Again, this is the scaling bot lane. This is the island of just CSing, if you will, both of the ADCs. Pretty even point overall, and just waiting for their time to shine in the game.
APA, we see in the mid lane keeping the wave right by the turret, potentially setting up Leo to get ganked, but APA, I think, just about ready for a reset, is going to try to crash that wave in as Zyko, the Maryville support, roaming all the way up to the top lane. We talked about the potential of a bot lane solo CS match, and Zyko's starting us up here first.
Just waiting in the wins. Is level 4, does not have access to the Tempered Fate just yet. A good way to dive a tower is to have 4 members.
And they take the magical journey underneath the turret. Cozy trying to survive the damage, and Maryville execute the turret dive perfectly. Once again, they go up 2-0.
The perfect tower dive is the one where nobody dies except for the enemy, and they were able to pull it off on that quite wonderfully. And this was the mid push that we talked about. APA having the early push into Leo allows them to get up there and make that play and make sure it goes off without a hitch, that you have 4 members strong of Maryville playing as that homogenous group, pouring the damage in, so you're not tanking the turret for too long and giving over that trade back kill in the long trade.
And we see both solo laners very ahead in experience here. Leo actually getting the level 6 first. Zyko looking for another aggressive bard play, but Big T sniffing it out. The kitty is in the mid lane helping out. As bot lane, we may not need to pay too much attention to bot until maybe a drag fight starts up there, but Maryville still with that team cohesion, working together to make big plays. We saw it a bunch yesterday, and today still working. This time, Niles, the benefactor, he's gotten both kills, which will just set him up so far ahead of Cozy.
And that's the name of the game. We all know how strong Cozy can be. Once they get onto items, once they generally have the Rift Maker on top of the Nashor's Tooth, they're able to control side waves so well with their Omnivamp and their ability to trade in the 1v1. But being down 2 kills, being down this amount of gold, means that it's just going to be slower and slower of a power curve until they can get to that point. And meanwhile, Niles is just turboing forward, almost on the Divine Sunderer, which will just mean that they cannot contest him and trying to.
Oh my gosh! Meanwhile, the ultimate trying to use Niles can't survive. Shut down gold. Going over to Cozy, using the ultimate, using the ignite. Cozy answers back.
I just said all that, and meanwhile, Cozy said, "What was that, Mr. Casterman?" Winning out the solo bolo in the 1v1. Needlework doing so much there.
So much work, one might say. Cozy, a big answer here, but going to have to reset after that fight. Opens up the window here for Maryville to try to pick up the first Rift Herald of the game.
Important to note, he is on Vision and be seen doing this. I'll have to see if there's any answer, if they're just going to trade for the Dragon here on the bottom side of the map.
Midwave is even, but Anda down on the bottom side of the map. I think you're right on the money, Regdor. No Org should be looking for an answer here, but Iconic knows this. He's like, bet, Anda on the bottom side of the map. I'm just going to start counter jungling on the top side. But meanwhile, Anda doing work in the bot lane. That's going to be a kill on to Zyko as Azog tries to answer back, but can't quite do it. Cozy now left on an island, knows not even underneath the turret is safe. as here come Maryville in the top lane.
Maryville just taking out some of the stirred plane ahead of time. You do get the resistances added on when you're down to 2 plates. So then we pop the Herald to make sure that this is an early first tower to the side of Maryville, while Anda will get the first Drake of the game. Sadly, Bard wandered where he wasn't allowed. He got a quick bonk on the head from the monkey.
Meanwhile, this is just a game of solo bolos, apparently, as the Ezreal caught out there. Wixie too far up in the lane. No kitty cat to back him up. Big T was elsewhere. And that's a kill going over to Azog Zeri, as Azog's got to be really careful with how Anda does have Flash available and can deal quite a lot of burst damage, but the stun comes through. Zyko, not one to bow down. That's going to be Maryville getting some turret plates down here in the bot lane, as Leo makes a roam down from mid lane, trying to answer back. Tempered Fate stuns him up. Time for our journey out of here. Zyko says, see you later, sucker. And Maryville get a kill and a plate.
Yeah, and see, that's what I mean. Like, Zyko just playing like a psycho, stepping up to the enemy jungler, stunning him under their own tower, and popping the Ignite, saying, we will kill you right here and now. Just really aggressive play that we've talked so much about with Maryville, and they're finding all of these advantages around the map right now. Got themselves a nice little 2k gold lead at just 11.5 minutes in. No neutral objectives up at the time, so we're gonna have to see where the junglers choose to strike next, as the one and only Iconic is coming back out onto the map with that Divine Sunderer.
And I wonder if we're gonna see any sort of lane swaps, as the outer turret in the top lane has fallen. No objectives for a little bit here, Regdor, as we're gonna have to buckle up for a pretty close match between these two teams. Cozy down but not out. Niles getting that big item completion with the Divine Sunderer. Iconic in the same position, but no real fights to play for, so it's going to come down to maybe trying to find some picks. Tempered Fate not available, but the stun connects. Azog using the ultimate. Final chapter going to come out. True Shot Barrage rooting down. Zyko gets killed. That's a kill going over to Wixie, fighting back. Mystic Shot one after another. Iconic is spotted there in the tri-bush. Wixie says hello with a few skill shots. The Everfrost misses. The charm doesn't connect. An APA can't get the kill. Wixie with the blue suede shoes on in the bot lane gets a kill and survives the dive.
Yeah, Wixie there with the fancy feet. And that's our wonderful faces here again. No fancy feet for me. I'm sitting down. But that was really intelligent play that we just watched. That was the long game, was to set up a dive onto Wixie, and they weren't able to actually do it. He fins off the play, gets a kill on his own as well. Well, the cat was there. Last final chapter was used, but his own fancy feet.
Yeah, getting back into it. We've got such a close match here, and No Org, I feel like, able to respond to the punches that Maryville is throwing out. That bot lane play there, just a little out of sync there, I think, from the MU squad, as it was the bot lane engaging first on a fight where their solo roam hadn't come in just yet. Zyko and Azog getting a little too aggressive here down there in the bot lane, but now Zyko once again roaming around the map and is trying to respond to this. The teleport's coming through. Stun does connect. Cozy is stuck here in the alcove with nowhere left to run. Zyko picking up the kill, takes down the No Org top lane.
That was almost, as you would say, the blue suede shoes. Almost the great escape, but instead will be cut short. You get it? Cut short, Cozy, win, snip, snip.
We're on a roll. Yeah, and oh gosh, looking at this mid wave, yeah, Zyko just going to be roaming down Maryville. They're not going to, even one little mess up there in the bot lane isn't going to stop them from using Zyko's Bard to try and control all three lanes on the map. Dragon spawning up here in 50 seconds. Leo doesn't have that mythic item completed. Wixie on this Ezreal, kind of in an awkward spot compared to the Zeri, but both of these late game ADCs not going to worry about things too much, as both squads maybe going to start preparing for another objective trade, as these guys aren't just going to be playing for the Dragon. We also got Rift Herald spawning as well, Regdor.
Yeah, that will be the question. It does feel like the overall strength of Maryville is pretty strong at the moment. That last mythic item for Leo coming through has chosen the Leandri's Ornament, as APA may be finding a pick up on the top side.
Maryville looking for a fight as always. Regdor, Dragon spawning. It looks like both squads. Nobody's worried about the Rift Herald, right? Everyone's focused on this Dragon.
As they should be. It is getting started up by the side of No Org.
Iconic using the shadows to try to work his way in. Gravity Field trying to slow him down. Red team secure it. And with the Smite Cyclone in, here comes the fight. Azog still healthy. APA getting a kill. Takes down. And Wixie getting real low. Niles finds his target. Leo's the next to fall as Maryville, they get the fight they're looking for. Azog with a double kill. The magical journey coming through. The cat is the last one. Doesn't get the last laugh. Ace for Maryville.
And that was exactly what we were talking about in the draft, is the aggressive style, but furthermore, the congealed organism. It's just one unit fighting, not 5 individual champions, as Maryville just take it step by step and just burn down each person from front to back. And they did lose out on the Drake, but they got the ace. They're going to pick up the Rift Herald, and they're better off in the long run getting these waves pushed in. Getting a double kill on Azog on the scaling Zeri is so important because it just reduces that timer. It's like taking, you know, the commencing stopwatch. Every time you get a kill, that timer goes down until you get to use it. Well, it's like that on a big scale, right?
Yeah, we just get to stop watching and worrying about whether Azog's gonna carry the fight. It might just be kind of a sure thing that he's gonna be popping off. As another magical journey into another weird angle gank coming through. No Org, they don't know where to look for these Maryville death squads. Cozy gonna try to stay safe underneath the turret, but as we know, Regdor, that is no safe spot from Maryville.
You know, it's in the book, The Art of War, to fight the enemy where they're not. Zyko definitely read that chapter with these magical journeys coming through in the most interesting ways to make sure that they're able to lock down and not allow Cozy to play the game. Now 1-5, sadly. And
the prediction! He's caught in the Tempered Fate, and they're gonna try to Cyclone out, but the storm from Maryville's too strong. Charm connects, Big T falls as Anda gets taken down next. Wixie underneath the turret wasn't prepared for any of that. It's a double kill for Maryville as Zyko and Niles are popping off.
That is the exact aggression that we have talked about. See a target, hit a target, stay on the target. Able to pick up 3 kills, as well as usher that Herald underneath the tier 2, picking up just so much gold. They've ballooned out now to nearly 7k, only 18 minutes into the game. That Drake does come up in 2 minutes, but the question now becomes, if you're a No Org fan, is do we get to a Dragon Soul, or is the game just going to get ended by Maryville before it's an option?
Looking at the gold chart, all 4 carries of Maryville are up in the green with an advantage. In looking at the scoreboard, once again from Maryville, it's not one player succeeding, it is them succeeding together. Just look at the kill participation. Everybody's involved as Zyko finds another stun. Iconic thinking about engaging, but they're just going to back off. That's not the fight they're looking for.
Yeah, the interesting thing too is if we look at just Iconic scoreline, 7 assists to their name, which is nothing to scoff at. Is been going in and out of all of these fights, help setting up plays and funneling the gold into the Camille, into the carries of this team to allow for what we see going on as Cozy and APA are going to fight this out.
We've got 3 Maryville members coming on down to the Price is Right stage. They found their prize. Cozy gets taken down. APA is unstoppable right now here in the Proving Grounds.
Yeah, unstoppable is the key phrase there, not only for the champion, but for Maryville as a whole. They are in firm control of this match. I love seeing Gwen as immune. Gwen could not stay immune long enough, though, with what is a lot. Oh, did that almost reset? Feels bad.
A little bit.
Feels bad when the buff resets on you.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Every camp, we've all leashed it too far.
That moment when you think you know, but you don't. Speaking about not knowing.
And did not know Maryville were still hunting, but they just don't know where to stop. An Ocean Rift doesn't help No Org out whatsoever. It's more bushes for Maryville to creep through. The vision so hard to control. It's pretty much complete darkness here, especially on the bottom side of the map for No Org, as I don't think they're going to be able to contest this dragon.
Yeah, no, they have all the approaches covered. The doors are locked. The river is theirs. As Iconic also shows his Pistol Pete is just able to solo down this Drake, and that, again, offsets the soul. That's what we were talking about earlier, is that with the game state being up, 8K gold. I can do math live on television. 8K gold here, the game will more likely potentially end before No Org is able to get to that Dragon Soul. So by Maryville taking this one, it just offsets that win con even further.
See, and even Niles just walking into the bush, he had no idea they were there, but Big T's like, I don't want any of that, and is going to try to escape. Niles hunting, but the decoy clone is going to be enough. Wixie starting to get online with this Ezreal, and maybe No Org can kind of look to use their range advantage, but with Maryville playing so cohesively right now, it's going to be tough as Niles recalls with teleport.
Man, they continue, it's the gamer word, right? They continue tempo that Maryville has because of the gold advantage. They're able to just make these strong rotations around the map because it's kind of like show up and fight me. You get to take this tier 1, but we're taking a tier 2 on the top side. Now you're going to challenge...
Look at the teleports. Here we go, Regdor. They're catching out. No Org here is in. His clone is going to try to buy time for the rest of the team. Leo flashes immediately. APA has a pick, and Maryville are opening this fight up. Wixie dies at the bottom. APA takes care of the top side, and Cozy is the last one left as Maryville find yet another ace. They are taking over.
They are taking over the map indeed. A clean ace. Nobody lost on the play. There's a little bit of a League of Legends challenge there for that. They're going to get a few points on the list there for the little medallions as they will pick up the Baron. And because of how they've played the map, generally you would see the first Baron used to take down these outer towers, these tier 2s, and get to the meat of the base. But they've already taken it out all except for mid lane. So they really get to use this Baron with the strong solo laners in Niles, in APA, and really should be able to push down a 1-3-1 and start knocking on the door of No Org, asking for them to turn in their ticket for being undefeated and get moved down to the 2-1 division.
Almost a 12,000 gold lead for Maryville here at the 23.5-minute mark. Baron power play begins as Zyko continues looking for picks. Tempered Fate misses. Niles with no ultimate is going to be forced to back away as Leo gets ready for the Maryville siege. Regdor, it begins.
The siege may be what they might call it. It feels like a fight waiting to happen. Just one singular pick from the side of Maryville, and as we've seen thus far, they're just going to jump on it. It's not going to be a question of if I die, it'll be when you die. Oh, Anda, though, did get the red buff.
That's a dub. You take it where you can get them. No Org trying to fight back here, but looking at the level differences across all the lanes, only Leo is kind of remotely close at level 14. Everyone else on No Org is level 12 or less. really tough position as we look at the gold leads. Azog, APA, Niles dominating here in round 3.
Absolutely, and Azog got ahead of the power curve. We can see they are online. That Infinity Edge, the perfect execution online, and now in these team fights, when Zeri gets fired up, there is not much that can stop her.
We see Maryville right now kind of struggling with this low-range composition to try to open up the base. Niles dancing around, trying to avoid the fight. It's a jungle top 2v2 in the mid lane. Stun connects. Zyko finds 2. Azog coming over the wall, maybe trying to look to turn around this fight. Tempered Fate buying time for the rest of the team. And Big T are immediately obliterated as Maryville have found their picks to open up the base.
And those 2 kills will give away the mid inhib, as well as on the top side. So being double inhib here at just the 25-minute mark. This could be the base defense, depending on timers here. They are 5 members strong. 15 seconds until Anda is back up.
2 inhibitors falls as Niles gets the bottom side ready. Cozy trying to fight back, but Niles is just too strong. APA comes in. A legendary performance. Always coming up big here for Maryville as they get all 3 inhibitors, Regdor.
Yeah, triple inhib, and then just a nice little magical journey there at the end. I'm a huge fan. It's like a fun slide. As they go to safety, and they will pick up the second Ocean Drake of the game. Just a nice little, end of the play, if you will. Triple inhib means not allowed to really walk outside of your base at this moment. One of the problems with No Org's comp is that their main wave clear is the Victor, Ezreal, like we talked about. He doesn't clear waves super well. No big AoE abilities. They're going to have to tend to these farms, which will give them a good amount of income. But not 14,000 gold worth of income that they need to be on the same bill tax bracket as Maryville at the moment.
Right, double super minions coming into the base is going to make life extremely difficult as No Org has to be spread thin, which is what Maryville wants. Niles finds his target. Cozy can't escape the X-Tech ultimatum, but he's able to fight back. Niles forced to back away, but we gotta look at the rest of the map because with Maryville, if there's one thing happening in the bot lane, they've got something in the works in the top lane.
Ain't that the truth? Guardian Angel is complete on Niles, the way Truth Life, as you may see on the screen, as we are on the live servers, not the tournament server. But able to push in 2 waves here. This might be the last stand of No Org.
Regdor, here we go, a 5v5 to defend the base. First Nexus turret gets low as Cozy. APA had found a bit of a pick. Cozy trying to back away, the ultimate used. APA trying to push ahead as we look at the bot side of the fight. And so low, trying to escape. A big Temper Fate connects. Psycho finds 2 targets. No Org, they're in the fountain trying to survive, but Maryville show no signs of slowing down as they're book their ticket to the group stage as they look for a top 8 qualifier. Redemption on the way for them as they're going to be booking their ticket, Regdor.
They indeed did book their ticket. No Org, your undefeated streak has been revoked. You will move to the 2-1. But Maryville with absolute class act of how do we set up the top side for success? How do we set up side lane where we can have this consistent pressure? And the name of the game is in Niles and Iconic. We saw it on the first dive. Then we go back and we repeat that because Gwen is not immune to tower dives. And Gwen no flash means that they are either forced to walk away in the one instance that we did solve, or as we, more importantly, got 2 early kills onto Niles, making him this big threat in side lane. And you just continue to flood through that play style, allow Azog to get into the game, get to that 3-item spike, and then we're off to the races. The rest is history as the Nexus explodes.
And it seemed like Maryville never let their foot off of the gas pedal here in round 3. I mean, it was a reset into another side lane gank always, or it was a reset into setting up the wave into we're going to attack them here. No Org had very little room to breathe in this match. Zyko on the Bard, Roman all over the place with Niles. It's iconic, super strong performance. Maryville 3-0 take down No Org. We're gonna hop into a quick break as we get ready for the next round. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back.